Hello everyone, GetAfterMaster974 back again today, doing another Valve source code tutorial. This time around, we've actually got a suggestion from mLambdaZDO, that's the way I'm going to pronounce it, who wants to know how to add in the Stunstick from Half-Life 2 Deathmatch or Source 2013 multiplayer into a single player mod. So this is going to work very similarly to the SLAM tutorial that I did, in that it's going to be a complicated way of doing something that should be really straightforward. So the first thing you want to do is go to your source code and open up the game's solution file. And what you'll notice is that the Stunstick code already exists in the projects. So on the server projects, you've got weaponstunstick.cpp and weaponstunstick.h, and on the client, you've got cweaponstunstick.cpp. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to navigate to my src game shared hl2mp folder and open up weaponstunstick.cpp, which is in there. And I'm just going to select everything in this file and copy paste it and overwrite everything that's already in weaponstunstick.cpp, which is in your server solution or server project. And if you open up weaponstunstick.h, then the only change we're going to make for now is to remove the impact effect function. And so going back to weaponstunstick.cpp in our solution, I'm going to temporarily replace the weapon underscore hl2mp blah 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 with base bludgeon weapon.h. I think I'm going to get rid of this later, but that's just a temporary thing. And you can pretty much scour through the file, and every instance where it says hashtag ifndef_client_dll and the corresponding hashtag endif, you want to get rid of that because that indicates that it's code that's going to be executed on the server, and so you don't need to include that because this is the server code version. So just go through and do that. And you'll see a hashtag ifdef_client_dll, and we're just going to leave that for now because that's going to be put onto the client version, the cweaponstunstick.cpp file that I mentioned earlier. And near the top, you want to change the cbase hl2mp bludgeon weapon class to cbase hl bludgeon weapon, and then change where it says implement network class alias and just change it to implement server class st. And inside of that, you'll see weapon stunstick, and you just want to add a C in front of it, so it says C weapon stunstick. And then change where it says end network table with end send table, and remove the prediction data stuff. And so you also want to add in begin data desk of C weapon stunstick, a define field m_b active as a field boolean, and then end the data desk. So I'm going to move on to the client version of the code now. So in cweaponstunstick.cpp, you want to do hashtag include npc event.h, and then the same for ieffects.h, debug overlay underscore shared.h, model underscore types.h, cte effect dispatch.h, fxquad.h, fx.h, and then remove beamdraw.h and replace it with input.h. So I'll show it in the video the way that you want to sort all of this out. And then in the server code, just copy over the extern void functions and the hashtag define stunstick glow materials from weaponstunstick.cpp and copy it into the cweaponstunstick.cpp file, as I'll show in the video. And then you want to replace the client effect material effects stunstick and just change it to client effects material, stunstick glow, and all of those parameters that you would have copied over. There should be 4 of them. So stunstick glow material. Anyway, you want to replace the existing code here with stuff that's inside of the hashtag ifdef_client_dll if statement in weaponstunstick.cpp. And you also want to add c_weaponstunstick in the public class section, so that's the constructor for the client-side version of the code. Then add in void start stun effect void, and you can put in curly brackets here. I don't, but all I'm going to do later on in the video is for start stun effect and void stop stun effect is just say, well, it's to play startup and play shutdown sounds. in commented out text. So you can just get away with putting curly braces here, which means nothing's going to happen in these functions. So that's void start stun effect, and then in rounded brackets void with curly braces after it, and void stop stun effect, and then in rounded brackets void with the curly braces after it. And then I think in the private section in this video I add virtual void third person switch, and then in brackets ball b third person, and also a C network var, which is a ball and m_b active. So you'll see all of that in the video. That's what you want to add into the client side version of the Stunstick code. And then you want to add C_weapon Stunstick : C_weapon Stunstick, which is the constructor. And what we're going to put in here is m_b swung last frame equals false, and m_fl fade time equals fade duration, which should be on the server side inside of an hashtag if def client DLL statement. And if you copy the main bulk of the code, which is, all functions which are meant to go on the client, then you'll see that there's going to be errors with a function called drawHalo. And the reason is that you need to pass through one extra parameter in each of the lines that are present. And this is HDR scale. So I just put one in every case, and there's 4 cases where you'll see errors. And then towards the end of the file, you want to add stub weapon class implement of weapon_stunstick and C_weapon stunstick. Then implement a client class DT of C_weapon stunstick, DT_weapon stunstick and C weapon stunstick. Then recv prop int of recv info of m_b active, then 0, then recv proxy _stun active, and then end recv table. Now recv proxy stun active is not defined, so what I'll do is I'll just leave the code that you want to put in the video, because it's a little complex to go over, so you can just pause at this point and see exactly what I put down. But that's what you want to put inside of this recv proxy stun active function. And you don't need to include it in the C_weapon stunstick class, because this is a generalized, void function, so it's outside of a class and you're allowed to do that in C++. And so the only thing to do now is to add in a void C_weapon stunstick : third person switch, passing through an input of ball b third person. And all you want to do in here is just say set up attachment points. So now we're going to go back to the server code, and at the top of weaponstunstick.cpp, we're going to change the hashtag include files, as I might have alluded to earlier. So the only ones we're going to have are hashtag include cbase.h, npc_event.h, ieffects.h, npc_metropolice.h, weapon_stunstick.h, and in_buttons.h. And we're going to add in 2 convars. So you can do convar sk player damage stunstick, and then define it as I show in the video, and same for sk npc damage stunstick. So these are going to be defined in skill.cfg, and in that file you can specify values that this is going to have. I think it's 40 for the NPC by default, but for the player I think it's slightly lower than that, so you might want to just look into it. You want to remove the C weapon stunstick class stuff, because this is already defined in weaponstunstick.h, so no need to define it twice. And then there's going to be an error because impact effect that I told you to remove earlier in weaponstunstick.h is going to show up as an error because the function doesn't exist. So just select it all and delete it. And so at this point, the only thing you can really do is go into player.cpp, find the cheat impulse commands function and case number 101, which is impulse 101, and just add give named item weapon stunstick as shown. And at this point you can compile the solution, and hopefully if I've done a good job explaining all of this, and with the video footage I show, you should be able to build the solution without any errors. Now the one thing you're going to have to do is get assets for the Stunstick. So in my case I'm going to do what I did with the Slam, which is to get assets from Source 2013 multiplayer. So loading into something like GCFscape, I extract models weapons v_Stunstick, because we don't need w_stun baton because that's already defined in Source 2013 single player, so we don't need to extract that stuff. But we do need the view model because in single player we're not supposed to have the Stunstick. So get models, weapons, v underscore stunstick, get all of that stuff. And then the corresponding materials, so materials, models, weapons, v underscore stunstick folder, and also the scripts weapon stunstick.txt file. You want to put all of those in the same kind of place into your mod. So you don't need sounds and you don't need w underscore stun button because they're already defined in the single player. Now you can launch into debugging through Visual Studio, and if you use something like Impulse 101 or give weapon stunstick, then, or even end create weapon stunstick, then what you'll see is that you don't actually get the stunstick, but you get battery power every time you get the stunstick equipped. So is that a bug or a feature? Well, I would say it's a feature in Half-Life 2, because in Half-Life 2, when you pick up the stunstick, it actually gives you suit battery. So if you want to fix this, go to hl2player.cpp, do Control F to find, and if you just type in the word stun, you'll go to a function called weapon can use, and essentially what it's saying is if the player touches a stunstick, then give suit battery instead of giving you the weapon. So for now, you can change the if ndef hl2mp to just hashtag ifdef hl2mp. This way, that code gets commented out so you don't have to deal with it. So you don't have to worry about the player getting suit battery from stunsticks. Now, I'll go over a little fix for this later if you still want to have that feature. So you get battery for every stunstick you get while the player has a stunstick equipped. But if you make this change, you can, build the solution and now you can use the stunstick in single player. Now there's two bugs in this case, one of which is that the glow effect that's supposed to activate when swinging doesn't happen, and also you don't get impact sounds. So I'll outline a way to fix this, and also, as I mentioned, the battery power stuff as well. So it's all going to be compiled into one section, this. So feel free to follow along as you see fit to make changes as you see fit. So in weapon stunstick.h, we're going to add a ~c weapon stunstick, which is a destructor. Then void item post frame, and then void equip, which passes through an input of c-base combat character * peona. Then void primary attack, void add view kick, and a second C network var, which is a ball called m_b in swing. Then going back to weapon stunstick.cpp, you want to add another convar, and I call it something like does player have stunstick. Now one thing you'll see is I actually use a flag called fcvar hidden. That way the player can't find it in the developer console. So if they know the name, then they can end up typing it in and get information about it. But it's not going to auto-complete or show up or anything like that. So it's a nice way of keeping sort of values that you can compare or set in different files without the developer console showing that up. So in the hashtag define stunstick glow section with all the material definitions, you want to add a .vmt to the end of all of the path names, because this is something you need to do when defining materials on the server. Then you want to add a send prop int of send info m_b in swing 1 and then s prop unsigned, and that's in the send table, and then do define field m_b in swing and field boolean in the data desk. So in the constructor, which is c weapon stunstick : c weapon stunstick, add m_b in swing equals false, and then add in the destructor, which is c weapon stunstick : c weapon stunstick. And what we're going to say here is does player have stunstick dot set value 0. So what the destructor does in this case is that if the player changes level to a level where they don't have the stunstick, then this convar is going to be set to 0, so they're going to be allowed to pick up a stunstick, and then as I'll outline in later code, the set value and get ball stuff that I'm going to outline is going to check if the player should be able to pick up either the stunstick or get suit battery from stunsticks. So now in precache, just change the precache model lines to reflect the hashtag define lines at the top of the file. So for example, precache model of stunstick glow material, and do that for glow material 2, and I think it is, and all that stuff. So you'll see it in the video. Next, we're going to go to get damage for activity, and we're going to completely change this to if get owner does not equal null and get owner arrow is player, then return sk player damage stunstick.getFloat, and then return sk npc damage stunstick.getFloat. Next, we're going to go to set stun state and remove the Q angle called vec attachment angles, and change the get attachment function to just be 1 and vec attachment. Then in deploy, we're going to add m_b in swing equals false. Then in holster, we're going to remove set weapon visible false and add m_b in swing equals false. Then in drop, we're going to add m_b in swing equals false, and going to add in c base player asterisk p player equals to base player get owner. Then if p player, does player have stunstick.set value of 0. Now in the video I'll make a mistake, I'll put 1, but it's supposed to be 0. Then we're going to add in some new functions that we would have defined in weapon stunstick.h. So just check the video for everything. But we're going to do void c weapon stunstick : equip, passing through an input of c base combat character asterisk p owner. Then we're going to create a bool called stun check, which equals does player have stunstick.getBool. And then if stun check, then does player have stunstick.set value of 1, and then base class : equip of p owner. Then we're going to do void c weapon stunstick : primary attack. We're going to say m_b in swing equals true, and then base class : primary attack. Then void c weapon stunstick : item post frame. We're going to do a c base player called asterisk p owner, which equals to base player get owner. If p owner, then return. Then does player have stunstick.set value of 1. So what this does is that if the player has the stunstick equipped, then this value is going to be set to 1 all the time. And even if the player picks up a stunstick and gets suit battery, which would call on the destructor, the value is going to get reset to 1 because the player has the stun stick, so that's what that is doing. Then we're going to add if p owner arrow m_n buttons and in_attack, and m_fl next primary attack is less than or equal to GP global's arrow cur time, then do primary attack, else weapon idle, m_b in swing equals false, and then return. And last but not least, we're going to do void c weapon stunstick : add view kick. We're going to create c base player asterisk p player equals to base player get owner. If p player, return. That's pretty typical stuff. Then we're going to create a Q angle called punch ang, and then do punch ang.x equals random arrow random float of 1.0f and 2.0f. Then punch ang.y equals random arrow random float of -2.0f and -1.0f. And then punch ang.z equals 0.0f. And then p player arrow view punch of punch ang. So that's everything on the server. Now we need to go to the client. So that's cweapon stunstick.cpp. We're going to add in a c network var called bool m_b in swing. And then we're going to go into client think, and we're going to change should draw using view model to is carried by local player and input arrow cam is third person. And in onDataChanged, we're going to modify data update created and turn it into data update data table changed. Then in swing, we're going to remove everything here except for the last return false line. And we're going to add if is carried by local player equals false, or, which is 2 vertical lines, : input arrow cam is third person, then return true. And then if m_b in swing, then return true. In draw effects, we're going to change should draw using view model to is carried by local player and : input arrow cam is third person. And then at the bottom of the file in the recv table, we're going to add a recv prop int. And the way I do it is recv info_name, m_b in swing, and m_b in swing. Alright, so that's everything on the server and client sorted. If you still want to be able to get suit battery from Stunsticks, if the player already has a Stunstick, then we need to go back to hr2player.cpp, and near the top of the file you want to add an extern convar called does player have Stunstick, which is what you would have called it in weapon_stunstick.cpp, and going to the weapon can use function, you can actually change the hashtag ifdefhr2mp back to its original hashtag ifndefhr2mp, so the code is going to get executed. And in the if statement, we're going to add to the start of it, does player have stunstick.getBall == 1, and p weapon our class matches weapon Stunstick. So that's going to fix that situation. So if the player has a Stunstick, the convar is going to be set to 1, and if they come across another Stunstick, they're going to get suit battery. If you have a weapon drop system in place, then this convar is going to be set to 0, so then when they come across a Stunstick, they're going to be able to pick it up and use it as a weapon, and then any subsequent Stunsticks are going to give suit battery. So that really hinges on having a weapon drop system, or if you change maps, for example, then you might not have the Stunstick, so this convar is going to be set to 0. So if the player does come across a Stunstick, they're going to be able to pick it up. And then, yeah, it's this situation as I've just outlined. So the only thing that we need to fix up now is, at least from a single player's perspective, impact sounds. So the way I found out to do this is to go to base_bludgeonweapon.cpp, and right at the end of the file is actually in the swing function. You want to add weapon sound single after impact water, and weapon sound melee hit world after hit, as shown in the video, and then the very last line should be weapon sound single. You just want to get rid of that. So you can actually now go to weaponstunstick.txt to see what sound melee hit world actually is, but the only downside to doing this is that you may need to go into the crowbar and remove that sound, because it's going to sound really nasty when it hits something. But at least for the Stunstick, it works. The effects might look a little fucky, to be honest, especially when you look straight up, and it may not draw all the time, but for the most part it works as it's supposed to. And you have working impact sounds as well. Well everyone, that's going to be the video. I hope you found it helpful. Hopefully my commentary and the video footage I show you in particular is good enough for you to get the Stunstick working for yourselves. Sorry if this is a long tutorial. I recorded about an hour's worth of footage just to get this video done for you, and it is a little complex in the sense that I've just said replace everything and then, adding new stuff. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you have any issues. I'll try and help you out. With that being said and done, take care out there everyone. See you next time, and let me know what you think. Take care out there.